what is this stuff? Well, these are emotions, right? Things we feel about self, things we feel about others, and all this stuff. This actually ended up being a portion of what I was going to talk on. And I think that would have been a good thing, but I kept coming back to just this, and I had to pare all the other stuff away, and we're taking it right down to this. The reason for that is, again, I interact with a lot of people. I listen to a lot of people. I hear people, and I hear where they're at, and I hear the struggles. And again, you're probably going, oh, great, we're going to be talking about hookup culture all day. No, I promise we're not going to do that again. I've chastised enough and scolded and all the other stuff. And it wasn't even that. It was just speaking some truth for all of us, myself included. We'll touch on some of that, but it goes a whole lot deeper when I talk about our body, their value. So let's see where this goes. Your body. We were created individuals in a specific way by our Creator, who very specifically chose to create you exactly as you are. And then the fall happens. And with the fall, as we learned, everything is no longer as it was. And we're now living in these bodies that were formed and designed by the Creator, and His very breath was breathed into us and gave us life. It's what separates us from a plant or an animal. We are spirit creatures, but we have souls that are divine. And so often we find ourselves dissatisfied with the design that was given to us. This goes far deeper than that image that we see in the mirror and how we feel about that, but that's part of it. But it goes way deeper. So I'm going to go through some of these struggles that we have residing in this body that we've been given, what it's like with all the experiences we've been through, the life that we lived, all of it. We often base the value of self on past things that we've done. Like if people knew, we've talked about that, if they only knew. I'm not worthy. I made choices. I've done things that I know that I shouldn't have done. That's based, that shame and that guilt that gets in there. We talked about that emotion. So we sit there with that, and we don't escape our past, as in once we've admitted to our failures, made the amends, we've done all this stuff, it doesn't mean that just all went away. We still will have in our mind those reminders. They come. It's part of that human nature. It does a number on how we feel about us. Think of our body there as just you. Think of yourself. We have this horrible thing that we also do, though, and this is where we're going to that common thing. We compare all the time. Comparison. We look in that mirror and we look at our image, but then I think our brain, does it replay other images? The if only? I know mine does. I know that I can look in the mirror and be like, well, if that could be a little different, if maybe my nose was a little different, or
if we look like the people on TV, or what we're showing.
Thank you, exactly. Thank you. And I don't mind that at all. In fact, I love it. So, thank you.
Or less wrinkles.
Yes. Are you pointing out in mine I could tell I was squinting because there's all white lines. And then I looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh no, I've got this dark face with all these white lines. And I'm like, it's because I was smiling outside. Perspective, right? Perspective. But we do that because every time we turn around, aren't we told this is what is ideal. The all-American girl next door. Who decided that she's blonde, blue, tall, and skinny? Who decided that's the American girl next door model? Really? There's not a whole huge variety of that type. Because we're all individual, right? So now there's this ideal. But we have a creator that says, but I've got more than that for you. I created you like this because you're unique. So we take our uniqueness that looks at us in a mirror and we start to hate it. And we're dissatisfied with it. And this isn't good enough. So, because I'm a girl, I know for us that can be, start at the top, our crowning glory. Don't look at this. This crowning glory today has got a mind of its own, but the hair thing, the things we do. We got to change the color, change the look, change the cut, do this, do that. What's the current fad? What's the current style? What are people doing? Blah, all this stuff. So we worry about that. And then it's the makeup and the latest and greatest. I find it ironic how you can look through history and it's always changed all the time. Like, is somebody sitting there trying to figure out what's going to be the next latest and greatest? So how did everybody really feel about the big spider eyelash thing? I mean, who decided that was amazing? Like, seriously, looked like you fell asleep with too much makeup and smeared it in a pillow, and now here I am. It's hard to blink your eyes because they're heavy. I mean, eyelashes aren't meant to be this long. And yet that's beauty standards, And we do it because beauty standards, it's how you find people. They're going to look at me and think I'm amazing because my hair is the latest. And I got my eye makeup is done just great. I can't do eye makeup to save my life because I can't see the mirror anymore. So I just don't bother because it's everywhere and it's a hot mess. So I just do the best with what I can. But I used to worry so much about all of those. I used to be great at doing a full face of makeup, my hair, except for lipstick. I always hated lipstick. It feels terrible. Guys, wear lipstick for a day and then ask us, why do you want us to do that? Ugh. Ugh. Yuck. But then it becomes what we wear, right? Is this outfit okay? What are people going to think? Are they going to laugh at it? What if they don't like it? I now, thankfully, got over myself, and I'm getting much better to where if I really like something, I'll just put it on and wear it and enjoy it. There's times I'll still talk myself out of it because I get old remnants of the past come in. But for the most part, I'm getting there. I'm getting comfortable just being me. But then it gets far worse when it comes down to our actual physical bodies. I'm talking about things that are just these external things that don't matter. Now I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty. Our height, our size, our shape, the size of our nose, shape of our lips, all of it. What lengths are people willing to do and go to achieve the ideal? When did it become the norm for us to say, hey, doctor, this isn't good enough. Can you cut this out, remove this, add this, change my nose, change my face, give me something here, the junk in the trunk thing. And like the day I heard they're implanting, I'm like, what? What? Like, I grew up in the 80s. That wasn't desirable. Like, you didn't want any butt at all. And now that's what you're supposed to have. It's impossible. You can't keep up with those standards. What's in one decade is now the out of style, and now it has to be this. So women are like, oh, plastic surgery can do that. And all of a sudden, look at my new body now. And then, oh, that's not the ideal. So now I got to change that. And it's this horrible, horrible thing because I believe in my heart and soul that kind of life does a number on you. Because but is it good enough? Am I good enough now? Is it good now? And guys, Get to the gym. Don't forget leg day. But you know what I'm talking about. Meanwhile, there's a couple strands of spaghetti coming out of their shorts, but you know what I mean. Don't forget leg day, you know, you want to match. But exercise is good, but when it becomes an obsession, male pattern baldness, what happens, guys? Guys freak out. Oh, your dome is glorious. Don't cover that up, Dave. The baldness starts, and all of a sudden you've got more hair in your ears and nose than you do on the top of your head. Are you saying, thank you, God, for the way you created me? Or you're going, what is this? Well, it's shooting out of my ears now. Like, come on.
It just migrated
Everything just slides down. I know. So eventually it ends up on the floor. But, so, you know, you go in and you get the crops planted up top of your head. You know what I'm talking about, hair transplant. It's perfect. The grid pattern. I know I sat there. I had a patient once and I'm like, those are perfectly planted rows. I mean, that's precision. But it's all these dots with boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I'm like, you know, so it's not just women. It's you guys too, you know it. You worry about it. You have to have the right fit, got to have the right shoes, got to have the hat, got to do the thing. You know it. And it's not bad until it becomes that thing that you can't walk out of the door with. Until that becomes part of your identity. The who you are after you've changed yourself. And I changed myself all the time. Up until about 3 or 4 years ago, when I made this radical decision, I thought it was radical at the time, to just simply be Heidi. And why is that radical? Because this culture and society doesn't say, just be yourself, because that's exactly what the world needs. And let me tell you, guys, you don't know fear in a woman until she is someone who used to wear full face of makeup, is going to go to Meijer with nothing on my face because I'm going to see everybody and they're going to be like, who is that? You know, one of these kind of things, like pretend I don't see you. Well, I did see the people, and guess what? It didn't seem to faze anybody that there was no makeup on this face. I'm like, what? But it's those weird things that get so ingrained. It's why advertising is such a big business. Yeah. Because of what it sells us. And guess what? We're buying it. We're buying it. If we weren't, we wouldn't be seeing it. We wouldn't be seeing it. So our bodies become something that we pummel and hate and destroy and alter and change, striving for this vague idea of perfection and ideal in a world that constantly changes that. So we constantly are chasing because we want to be cool and in and, you know, look at me. I'm just, you know, I'm up on everything. Well, don't look at me now because I don't look like I'm up on everything, but, you know, it becomes something we just get so obsessed with. And then we have the old seeking validation in relationship. We don't live in a culture that sees equal value between people in relationship and those living single. Being single doesn't mean alone. We have a lot of single people in this community, and you're not alone. But we have this idea that relationship, I'm not content this way. I need a matching skeleton to sit with me, so my life will be so much better. But we talked about that too, because what happens? We're looking to somebody else to fill what we are missing. And how fair is that? Does anybody here want someone to walk up to you and say, Dave, I'm really lacking in this area, so I need you to be my friend so you can take care of that and make up for that for me. To put that expectation on somebody is just wrong. It's impossible. There is no way somebody else can fill the voids you have in your own life. You be in relationship with somebody who you are compatible, where you accentuate each other's characteristics.
You build each other up.
Yes. We too often try to do God's job and we pick our own person. Now, before you go off thinking I'm all about arranged marriages, no, I am not. No. Nor would I ever pick that for anybody, because my picker, as I've said before, was real bad until this time. I was real bad, real bad. What you do, wait for what God puts together. Wait for that person that gets brought to you, and everybody's like, oh, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 27, it's never gonna happen. I'm like, oh, you sweet babe. But I remember being in my 20s and having those feelings. You know, you need to be with somebody, you need this, you need that. It's gotta look like that, because again, who decided this ideal standard? This is how it's supposed to look. And then I've had good, well-meaning Christians say, well, the Bible and God. And I'm like, but what does he say about singleness? It's desirable. It's preferred. It's blessed. It's a gift. How often does church talk about that?
Never. I don't know yet.
That's sad. Because what does it leave you feeling?
Alone.
Right. Is that how it's supposed to feel in a family? That hurts my heart. Singleness is a beautiful gift, and I'm going to say my thoughts on that are because being in relationship is a lot of work, and it's really hard. Singleness doesn't put you directly in life with another person riding those roller coasters with somebody, because those things can take you away from things. I'm in relationship. I am married. It means I have a priority. That means that's going to have to take priority over other things, and it does take up my time. And it takes up a lot of headspace, especially if things have, maybe we had a rough, bumpy patch. I carry that with me. And now I have a calling here, so what if I carry it here? I have to somehow step aside from that and out from it and continue on in my calling. Yes?
So, I looked at it like this. They're not meant to go through what I have to go through.
Right.
I'm supposed to do it on my own.
Well, somebody else can't walk it for you. A partner or person that you have in your life should walk it with you, but they cannot walk it for you. People who aren't in a dating or romantic relationship, they aren't left out there on their own. Nobody here is left on their own to walk it, because I watch it all the time. There is a circle of people ready to be here, ready to walk alongside you and be that support in that person. A relationship that you quickly go out to find to make all of that better isn't going to benefit your life, and it's not going to make it better, but it sure can bring an awful lot of worse into it. The very thing that you long for and go beyond what God has brought to you can be the very thing that can derail you and set you back. It's always that, be careful what you wish for, especially if you're going to go grab it. Yes, Carol.
I was in a ministry for 14 years that everybody was just amazing, whether you're single, male, female.
Yes.
They were all respected for their own.
Yes.
And it was worldwide.
Yes.
Thousands of people, and you just felt beautiful. Just
Yes. That's what I want.
Very healthy, but then I moved back here where
The-
churches are more respectful about.
Yes.
You know, they don't have that.
That brings me sadness. Yes.
Yeah, so.
Because it's not meant to be that way. That's not meant to be that way.
You're just a vital body member. You know, you're all
Everybody.
You're a thumb, finger, eye.
I think that I'm a little pinky toenail, but if you yanked that thing out, you'd know it, right? It's all important. All of it. There's not lesser or greater. Somebody in relationship doesn't have it over somebody who's not. It's just not that way, and it's not biblical truth either. I gotta keep on going. We often can feel defined. Again, this kind of goes to the past, but it's much more specific. Those of us who have dealt with some trauma or abuse, and I know there's a lot of you along with me inside this space. It's why I think churches need to really step up and we need to do a lot better in loving people that have come through trauma and abuse. We really, really, really need to do a lot better. I understand the whole, forgiveness and how that all works. Trust me, I know it to my very soul because I've done that part. I have done that part. But you don't lead with that. With a victim who has just come to you and told you what happened. You don't quickly rush them to forgiveness and move along. That's re-trauma. That's traumatizing them all over again. That person is deserving of all the support, all the love, all the resources way before the abuser. And sometimes we've gotten it backwards and we go to restore this one at the expense of that one. As a church, we are never to sacrifice the sheep, the victims, for the sake of this one over here.
The wolf.
Yeah, because it's become where this one gets protected and this one gets left to fend. And that isn't right. And you want to talk about what that can do to a person? I know that I'm in recovery because of trauma. That's what that does to a person. It destroys. It destroys, and we need to see that in the right way. We often can feel that our worth is directly tied to our performance, what we can do it all right, and all these other people are just successful as we define it. And the whole thing is like, I got to do it right, got to do it right, got to do it right, got to do it better, got to do it better. Just do it. This affects everything. It will affect your relationship. It will affect your career, but it's also going to affect your faith. You don't have to do the work to earn it. And I will say that over and over and over again, and I'm not saying just continue sinning because, Jesus died for it. I will never say those words. But if you're living your life trying to do everything right because, I sin and I got to get it right and I got to do better and I'm so sorry, God, and please forgive me. He already has. On the cross. All you have to do is just say, God, I'm so sorry. I did this. It's right here. Thank you so much for taking care of it. You don't have to pay penance. We don't have to add to what Jesus did. It goes against human nature when you've done something wrong to bring it and then take because you've done something wrong, but that's what we're called to do. Set that down and take Jesus. Because the more you do that, the less you'll find yourself having to do that. It's a natural reaction to following what Jesus called us to live. But you don't have to punish yourself. You don't have to work yourself up into a lather because you're trying to be better and do more and do this and do that because I'm trying to be a good Christian. You already are because Jesus said you are. So stop trying for that and maybe just say, Jesus, I love you so much and I'm going to live my life as best I can the way you did. Help me. That's all. We often believe that love and value are things to earn. So I'm going to outdo myself trying to earn your love. I've done that before. It didn't earn me the love I wanted at all. At all. But it did result in my bank account savings and retirement were wiped out. It did result in another relationship ended. It did result in all kinds of things. Didn't earn me anything. And if you think that earned me value, no, my value just took a bigger hit because I'm trying to earn it. And then when they leave, you're left like, oh, I wasn't good enough. We take it personally.
Absolutely.
You are good enough. You are worthy. If you are in relationship, whether romantic or community, and it's an environment where you feel that it's necessary to perform to earn respect and love, it's kind of backwards. It's a backwards way of living, especially in the family of God. This one, I don't want to be a burden. Anybody here, have you ever said, oh, but I don't want to be a burden? I hear over and over and over, it's like, oh, there were some things I wanted to ask you, but you're so busy and I didn't want to bother you, and that hurts my heart. I will be very honest, and if I don't have the time right then and there, I will let you know. But if there is something weighing on you that you need to say to somebody, and my name comes to mind, come and find me. Come and find me. You are not a burden to me. It is not a burden to me when somebody comes because they need to talk about something, or they need to share a burden, or maybe they just need a hug, or maybe they just need to hear, I love you, and I'm here for you. I will listen. It doesn't matter how much is on my plate. It doesn't matter if you know or don't know what is happening in my life. I am here for you, and if I don't have the space and time right at that moment, I will let you know. And I will say, but I will be available at this time, or I will help you find somebody that is safe to talk with. But this whole, I don't want to be a burden. Oh, yeah, it's bad, but no, I don't want to be a burden. That's not right. That isn't a right way of thinking. It's not how followers of Jesus should be thinking. You are not a burden, and your family is meant to carry burden so it's not heavy. That's what families do. It hurts me to know somebody had been burdened and didn't say anything. And I choose to believe it's the same in reverse. If you don't want me to share my burdens with you, then you just don't have to listen, because I'm going to continue to do it anyways because it helps me. You have no idea how much you help me when I can come here and say, can you please pray for my granddaughter, Mila? I'm really getting kind of scared about this. But I know that you pray. My nephew, we have prayers for, please, unexpected and unexplained positive responses to this cancer he has, and what happened starting that same afternoon. That's what happens when you share those burdens. Or I could have been silent and just lived through and never told any of you about it. Share your burdens. It's much lighter, and life gets so much easier. Don't stay silent. The self-loathing, we kind of covered that up, and then perfectionism. Oh, I understand doing a job and doing it well, and that's important. I don't believe we should go halfway with anything because we don't care. In everything that we do, we are representing who we are, and if you're a follower of Jesus, that means you are a child of God. It means that we hold ourselves to a standard, and when we do a job, we want to do it well. But when we have those perfectionistic tendencies, Has anybody ever lived with somebody who's a perfectionist? It's awful because you can never live up to their standard. And that mindset doesn't realize what they're doing to people. You have set a bar impossibly high. You can't even live up to the bar you may set for somebody. You can't, nothing, everything. It is the worst feeling in the world to constantly trying to be good enough, to be worthy. It's another reason why being in a relationship isn't always the answer, because these struggles and that happens. We often think our partners are going to react the same way we do. So what's wrong with you? Hey, what did you do all day? It looks like you don't care because you didn't get that done. Lazy? We make judgments so often on other people by measuring them using us as the measure. This is what I would have done in this situation, so why were you stupid and did that? You can't do that in a relationship. That's not what we're called to. Perfectionism can be a dangerous thing. There is not a perfect person on earth. There is not a person who's better than another person. People sitting in these pews right here are not better than somebody out riding their Harley right now. You are not better because you're sitting here than that person going for a ride on their Harley. I will say, I often had far more deeply spiritual thoughts in mind when I was actually riding my Harley than I did in church before. Yes, I had my own Harley. I was that biker girl, yeah, for a while. It's fun riding a bike. Perfectionism. We need to live our life knowing we are broken, flawed, sinful human beings that are redeemed through Jesus. We are not perfect. Nobody is perfect. The standards you set need to be for yourself. You don't get to set the standards on somebody else's life. You cannot tell somebody they must live up to these standards. It's not our place to do that. We are responsible for ourselves. You want to set that standard impossibly high, you can go ahead and live up to it yourself. I'm not going to join you because I know that I can't. So, we often, a lot of us here, struggle because we are defined. Hi, I'm Heidi. I'm an alcoholic. Is that all I am? No. There's so much more. That's a piece of who I am. It doesn't change the fact that I am. I am an alcoholic in recovery. So that does not mean that is everything I am, because wow, my life is getting really rich and really full. That will always be a piece of it. But when you start looking at life only as that, life gets really narrow and small. You have to remember that there is so much more life out there outside of your drug use and your alcohol use in the past. You're not sitting there. I don't see anybody here doing math. You know, I didn't see any lines of cocaine in the bathroom downstairs late. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody here is drinking. We don't do a mug check. I don't feel we ever have to do that. So those aren't things that we're doing. So you don't have to sit here all day going, yep, I'm an alcoholic sitting here in this building. I'm an alcoholic and I'm gonna eat some lunch pretty soon. I'm an alcoholic and then I'm gonna do this. We don't have to wrap ourselves up and be consumed by that only. I don't say, hi, I'm Heidi, an alcoholic, because I'm proud of that. I'm just really proud to say, hi, I'm Heidi. I'm an alcoholic in recovery. That part I really like, because that opens the door for people to ask me about it, and I can tell them about recovery. But it's not because I want you to know I'm an alcoholic. No, I want you to know I'm in recovery. That's the part I want you to know. That part. That part. Lack of affirmation growing up. How many of us here had a lack of good positive affirmation in your childhood? Did you have parents that poured into you and made sure you understood your wealth and your value, your worth? That's very damaging. Yeah, I've spoken openly. That wasn't that wasn't a thing. It's not even common. It just wasn't a thing. There was no affection in our house. It just wasn't part of it. Hugs, I love yous, all of it, it was never done, ever. I don't remember a single time on my mother's side of the family, my grandmother, I don't remember, my grandfather died when I was 10. My grandmother, I don't remember a hug. Like I rack my mind, it's like, did it ever happen? No, it didn't. She was very cold. I can imagine how difficult my mother's upbringing was, because I know how difficult she was. There's no pleasing her, and she didn't hide that. She was cold, and I remember being afraid of her. I remember her telling me how awful my parenting was because her kids were toilet trained at 10 months old because she tied them to the toilet until they went. And only then would she let them off. So that was her way of training a child to use a toilet. Yeah, no, not going to do that. But it's like, I don't know where she got that from and so on and so forth. So my family, we had a lot of generational curses of bondage and awfulness that had to be broken. And sometimes some of us are called to be just that. And if you are that in your family, I will first say, I'm really sorry because I know the price of that. And I'm going to follow that up by saying, I'm so incredibly proud of you because I know what it takes to do that. Breaking those things and changing things, starting with you, is a difficult thing to do. When you haven't had the affirmation and you haven't had this, it's hard work to become something different than that. It's hard work to become somebody who does give people affirmations, who does lift people up and fill them instead of ripping them apart, or even worse than that, nothing. No conversation. No, it was just discipline and that was it. I had a childhood of discipline just to make sure I'm doing the right thing. But conversations about anything? No, didn't happen. No, what did you do? Tell me about your game, because they didn't go. That's not okay. But those things follow us into our adulthood, and they leave us not knowing how to connect with other adults in a healthy way. We're very stunted. I see that a lot in the recovery community. And I'm finding for a lot of us, we came from some similar things. We have a lot of differences in our stories, but some things are similar. There wasn't tons of affirmation and love and support. There wasn't a lot of good conversations. There wasn't always good parenting. Some of us didn't have one parent or the other. Some of us didn't have any parents. A lot of us have faced trauma and abuse. And now here we are as an adult, expected to have it all figured out and doing it right. How? I don't know how to do that, because what's familiar is the other. And many people just simply choose to stay with what's familiar. Oh, man, I could go forever on this. We get some unrealistic expectations. Oh, there it is. That get placed on us by the church and can lead us to feeling as if God may not love us or accept us. I need you to know that I love church. You all know that I also speak all the time that church is people and not a building. It will never, ever, ever be a building. If we were sitting outside in the dirt in that field, we'd be sitting in church because we are the church. Wherever we are, church is. This isn't a denominational thing. This isn't a specific church thing. This is just not anything in particular other than so many times God has been used as a weapon against people. This has been used as a weapon. You can pick and choose things out of here to make it sound however you want to if you really want to. I think almost all of us have experienced that from people who proclaim to be Jesus people.
Yeah, saying I'm not a good Christian.
Yes, because it's a beautiful thing when you grow up in a family that's a good, close family, and you attend church, and you go to this great church, and you grow up there, and then you marry somebody from that church, and then you raise your family in that church, and then your kids get married, and they stay in that church, and you've never been around anyone else but that. You get really comfortable there. It becomes automatic for a lot of people. It's just what you do. Like clocking in at work, ching, got to be there by 9:30. We'll be out by 11. Sounds good. I can get the yard mowed and stuff. How much more thought is being put into church? And then often we can show up at this church, and there's been times when it's like I've walked in those doors with all my hurt and my pain and my suffering and my struggles, and I get a hellfire condemnation type sermon dumped in my lap, which in my mind at that time was like, yeah, I am as worthless as I thought I was. And I'm left in that as I go home. That's not Jesus and that's not God. Because love doesn't do that. Love doesn't leave you in condemnation and self-loathing and without value. Love doesn't come to you and say, you worthless, vile, wicked, evil person, you're going to go to hell unless you get this right. It will instill a good, healthy fear of God, but not fear in the way the Bible talks about it. Fear in the Bible, I wish it was a different word because it's not to be afraid of. We are not to be afraid of approaching God. Fear is awe and reverence and understanding to the extent of our ability of the greatness of this being that we love and worship. That will bring me to my knees, but not because I'm afraid he's going to strike me down. It's more in awe that I get to approach. There's a very different things. I'm not afraid of God. And I love that so much because for 50 years I was terrified of him. This random vague notion out there just ready to squash me. Rotten, vile, horrible, awful person, worse than anybody else you know. Because that's how I saw myself, like I am the chief sinner of everybody. Which can become a brag thing too. Oh yeah, I'm the greatest sinner of them all. I'm the chief sinner. I'm such a sinner. Gonna pray some more. Church is a place where you should be fed and filled, where you should walk out of and feel restored and loved no matter what you came in here with. And it should be the place where you should hear, please leave it all right here. Please give it to God who's already handled it. It's not the place where you should get more shame, guilt, and worry heaped on you. You shouldn't walk out of a service and say, I got to work harder, do better, try more, read my Bible more, underline more, journal more, answer more questions, go to more studies, do some more of this and that. Sometimes, and people look at me like I grew 10 heads when I say that, sometimes I will tell people, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, get your nose out of the Bible and start living like a Christian. That's a life of service. Oh, thank you. I love reading out of here, but I don't do it at the exclusion of serving people. This right here is a collection of testimonies. Testimonies are simply stories sharing of what God has done in somebody's life. It has a lot of wisdom in here. Anything you face in life is addressed in here. But a lot of the, and I'll air quote, good Christians, you should see my Bible, everything, all the different color highlighters, all the different underline. There's more little tabby things up here with all the notes, and I'm not saying that it's horrible. But what I want to ask them is, how did you serve people? Did you serve people outside of your ladies' Bible study group? Did you serve anybody outside of your men's group? Have you served anybody outside of the church congregation you're part of? Did you notice anybody as you went about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday that would have fit the people that Jesus said you're to help if you can help? Did you do that? Or well, no, they're not Christians. They don't go to my church. They're Catholic. They're Baptist. They're Methodist. They're this. They're Buddhist. They're Hindu. They're this, that, or the next thing. Did the Bible say, well, except for them? Because if it does, show me. Sometimes we do need to set this down so we can be active in the way God has called us to. That can become a huge stumbling block for people. I know some amazing people. They have so much knowledge about this. They can memorize and recite, incite everything. Turn right to it. I got something for that. It's right here. That was my study. Look at this. I broke it all down. I've got this word circled with a line because that goes to here, and then this one over here, and then I color coded over here. If you don't step outside of it, no. Then it's just here. We're called to this, hands and feet of Jesus. Hands and feet of Jesus. I don't think Jesus' life was portrayed sitting at a table with his nose in a book until he went to the cross. All right, let's read 1 Corinthians. Or didn't you realize that your body is a sacred place, the place of the Holy Spirit? Don't you see that you can't live however you please, squandering what God paid such a high price for? The physical part of you is not some piece of property belonging to the spiritual part of you. God owns the whole works. So let people see God in and through your body. This might end up into a two-parter because this first part is going real long, and I'm not going to keep you here forever because I know I talk too much, but We are so fearfully and wonderfully made, right as you are right now, in this moment, without changing a single thing. You are gloriously and marvelously made. God himself attended to every detail. You know, in the creation thing, everything he saw was good until it got to us, and then it was very good. Why? Because we were created to be image bearers. The day I started looking in the mirror and saw an image bearer, instead of trying to figure out what can I change, or if I contoured like this, will my cheeks look thinner? I know, Dave, it's a real thing. It's crazy what they can do with contour today. Crazy, crazy. Catfishing, I think they call it. Our self-worth matters a great deal. The way we think about ourselves matters a great deal, because it affects how you live in this world. It affects the way people are going to see you and interact with you. Are you living in a way that makes Jesus appealing? I can remember myself, cringe, truly believed, because of the denomination I was part of, that I was better than everybody, because we were told that. We're the only true church, this tiny little denomination. We're the only ones that got it right. Can you believe it? How lucky are we? I mean, sorry, blessed, hashtag. So, yeah. Oh, but yours was wrong and mine was right. So anyway, except you're German, so am I. Maybe we're the same. I don't know. But wow, cringe moments, trying to have conversations with people because they're like, why do you think you're better? Well, because I go to this church. I didn't know how to answer that. I just knew that I was better, though, because we said that. Because we got the most pure preaching. Kind of sounded like it contradicted things you read in the Bible, but they said it was right, so I'm going to believe it. And I did, until I couldn't escape the fact that what I was being told and what I was reading, they didn't go together at all. The idea the kids are having a high old time down there tonight. Yay, Katie, bless her heart. So, your value and self-worth is God-given. It's divine value. When God himself looks at you, Nick, and says, Nick, you're amazing. You are exactly as I created you to be, just as you are. Show people exactly who I created you to be, not anything else. And he says it to you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you. He created you exactly as he did, so you could be that person in this world. Not so he didn't create you a blank canvas, so you could figure out how to change it for this season, and then this decade we need to be over here, and then Twiggy comes on scene, so we need to be like 80 pounds, and then it's got to be, the big and beautiful. No, we're all beautiful in all the shapes, in all the sizes. Yes, every one of us. You don't have to change it. You want to color your hair, go ahead and color your hair. But if you're doing it because you hate or don't like yourself, rethink that, because it's not going to bring you what you think. You want to wear makeup, more power to you. I just don't know how to do it, and I don't bother anymore. And my skin's been a lot happier, so there's that.
Amen.
And I'm almost 60, so it's like you get what you get, so. I would love very much, this is going to be a two-part, I've got so much more. I want nothing more than to know all of you as you authentically are. The person God created, that's who I want to see and know. That one. Not the one that was changed, altered, or amended. I don't want to know that one because I want the real, because that's the good stuff. That's the really, really good stuff. And I know that because God said it was very good. He didn't just say that about me. He didn't just say it about Judy. Every single one of you, he takes such delight in. All that longing that I had, it's like my dad never told me this, my mom never told me this. Do you know what God says to me every day? She's mine, she's my favorite, I love her, isn't she amazing? Look at her. She's exactly as I intended for her to be. And we can all say that. He takes such absolute and utter delight. He would not have sacrificed his everything if you didn't have that much value. If you were not worth it, if you didn't have value, Jesus would never have been sent in order to die the way he did. And we forget that. It wasn't so much that we needed to understand how horrible and awful and vile we are as sinners, because I think life leaves us understanding that because of the way we feel. Anxiety, depression, anger, all the stuff. It all comes from this. We know where we fail. We know where we fall short. Why isn't that we don't more look to the fact that it's telling us just how much worth we have to God? That I love you that much, that I'm keeping my covenant that I made way back. I have not failed. I made a promise and I am keeping that promise because I love you. Not because you're so horrible and awful and vile and disgusting. If that's all we were after Jesus, there was no point to Jesus. No point at all. We live lives so often forgetting that it's already been paid, covered, and it's done. We keep dragging it back out. But look at, my hair's got this weird colic here and here and then here. I got like 5 of them. Like, if it was straight and no colics, then it'd be great. No, it's great the way it is, because for some reason, God's like, man, colics are going to be amazing on her. Let's give her 5. So I've got 5. And then let's make it curly. And then it gets really big. It's like, cool, I am unique. And now finally, I'm starting to love the fact that I'm unique. I love that I now enjoy learning who I really am. I love that I'm brave enough, and I hate even using that word, to live authentically. What you see is what you get. Who I am is who I am. I'm the same way at home as I am here. I have never lived that way before, ever. I challenged myself to, and it was difficult at first because I was an actress. On my bad days, I can still pull that out. Academy Award, get ready, I'm really good. I've been on stage before, but I'm talking about the life acting we do. Don't hide the bits and parts of you that you see as flaws or failures or I got it wrong or. Those are the good parts of your story. That's what makes now so good. In the Bible, King David wouldn't have nearly the same punch for me if we didn't know what he really did. It's why I won't pretty it up. I like the raw, real ugliness of life because it really makes the other part so much better. It makes the, but let me tell you what God did with it part so much better. It's why I share my story. This is not the person that lived the first 50 years of her life at all. She didn't talk in front of anybody because I would have been crying and shaking and anxiety just galore. I wouldn't be doing an outreach. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't know all of you. And in fact, I just plain wouldn't be living anymore. Because that's the path my life was on. And I thought that's what I wanted. Because I was so sure I wasn't enough. Because I was less than. Because I'm never going to get it right. Because I failed so many times. Because I've hurt people. Because I continue to make mistakes. I continue to fall down. And on and on. And then it's like, I'm chunky, I'm ugly, I've got a bad personality, I've got this, I've got that, I've got blah. It was horrible. My whole life was consumed by this awful darkness. Just awful. And the only peace I found was the idea of not being here. That's why it's so important to work on what you see in the mirror. Because that's the enemy at work. And he's well versed in knowing where to get you. I choose to believe today, and some of these things are hard to say because I battle with the whole, I don't want to sound arrogant and like I have an ego, but I do believe today that Satan perhaps knew that I'd become an adversary, that I'd become somebody who has no fear of him because I know he lost. Kind of I ain't afraid of you. I don't have to run from you. I don't have to make sure, I will talk to anybody in any environment, anytime, because I know whose I am. I know who I belong to. I don't look to be in those situations, but if I find myself in, it happened last weekend. Went to hear a show. There were moments in there where I literally physically stood completely still and I just prayed over that entire room and I prayed protection over myself because some of the things that I saw. Everything in me wanted to run and flee and I'm like, I will not because I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, but I'm going to start praying. I started praying over that band individually. I started praying over the people in that space. Anybody I laid eyes on, I said a prayer over. Before, I would have just left. Ugh. I don't do that anymore. Do you know why? Because God created them too. If I'm going to run from people who don't have my mindset, thoughts, or beliefs, how am I ever going to be Jesus in this world? So while I don't seek it out, I no longer feel like I have to immediately get up and leave. What's that going to do? Nothing. But I do know what prayer does. I do know because I see it happening. And I do know when we left, I didn't carry evil with me because I know whose I am, and I know who I was talking to, and I know who was with me. We need to see not just our own worth. I don't have any idea what time it is, I'm sorry. We cannot forget that every other person on this planet has exactly the same worth. Everybody. That challenged me directly. Because I have some people that I really have some opinions on, certain population segments. That's on me. I cannot have that. Every person is known by God and was created by God, whether they choose to know him or not. And I am called to serve in love, not in a way that will get me used or put me in danger in places I shouldn't be. But it means I don't have to be afraid and I don't have to run from people, places, and things that have different viewpoints and opinions than I do. How do I witness and how am I going to testify if I flee and only stay with people who think exactly like me? I love that in this community, I love all the thoughts and ideas that come into here. I love them and I will never, ever demand, but you have to think just like me because I have it right. Do I? As soon as I start thinking that way, I'm no longer teachable. So we need to love. We typically choose the people to love that are easy to love, though. I do. But we need to love people who aren't like us. In every walk of life, right where they're at. And we don't have to wait for them to clean it up and get better like me. Jesus didn't do that. I like the people he went and sat with because he didn't go to sit with them to condemn, but he went there to love and to share truth, but not in a judgmental way. So many things in the Bible. Again, I'm going long, I know. He led with love. It's why he said, what's the greatest commandment? Because, you know, we like all our laws and our rules and stuff. Everything can fit in a box then. Give me the list of rules. You know, the 10 commandments, and the 10 commandments are a good thing. But when Jesus died on the cross, we don't live under that any longer. It doesn't mean there aren't any rules. It does not mean that. What it means is Jesus fulfilled them. What it means is that we no longer have to follow every single little bit of the law like the Jews had to before Jesus. All those laws, they needed to live by those. It's what they had to do. That's just the price that you get paid for. But I want more, God, and I'm going to take it. He's like, I tried to tell you. We're not under that because we have the Spirit, and it changed everything. They didn't have the Spirit before. They only had the law. It's how they knew what was right and what was wrong. We are Spirit-filled people. Spirit-filled people, we already know. Don't lie. Don't kill. Don't cheat. Those are things that we know. Those are inherent. We don't need them written on a wall to know that's not right. How do we know that? Because God is good. And God is love. We struggle so often. If you're like me, I should say it that way. I can remember having a conversation with God, just like, God, I so badly want to get it right this time. I want to do this right. What I received And again, not the voice. It's not how I talk to God. It's not, I don't hear a voice coming down. Like I said, James Earl Jones didn't talk like he's God or something up there. But he just said, lead with love. Lead with love. Because tell me how you're going to get it wrong if it's based out of love when God himself is love. And it suddenly made all the understanding clear to me. I was so worried about failing that I forgot how simple he made it. Greatest command you want to know, love God and love others as you do yourself. It's why good, healthy self-love is so important. Lead with that, and the Spirit will guide you. He promised that. He promised that. It doesn't mean you get to make everything up just willingly. Well, I feel like it should be like this, so do that. No, he's given you a guideline because he knows what's best. You are worthy, and you are loved. You are exactly enough as you are. You don't have to change yourself. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be better. None of it. Try love, though. If you're really struggling, try love. God first. Say, Jesus, I love you. If you find it too hard to really fully love yourself, start practicing, but pour it out on other people. And challenge yourself to go beyond your norm. Love people you typically wouldn't choose to. I could fill in the blanks, but everybody knows that group, not a fan. Try loving them instead. As soon as you catch yourself, this will be it, and then I'll be done, I promise. When you catch your mindset going, they're wicked. The way they're living, it's wicked. As soon as that starts, love them instead. Love them instead. Openly. Talk with them. Care about them. Listen to them. Be Jesus to them. In a way that they're going to be like, why are you so nice to me? Why are you like this? That's your opening. Don't walk up to them. It's like, you're part of that community. You know what the Bible says about you? You're going to go to hell. And then walk away. Oh, yeah, they're going to follow you. Oh, tell me about this Jesus. I want to know because I want to be hateful like you too. Nobody does that. You are not going to scare people into believing that Jesus is love. It doesn't work that way. But people could love Jesus because you love them. But it means you're going to have to face the one in the mirror because that one there needs that love too. That face looking back at you needs love too because you're a child of God. God. Do you think his kids have value? How much value do your kids have to you? What would you do to keep your kids safe? Would you die for your kids? Who's their father? And he did. You're worth loving right now. You're not missing anything. You're not lacking. And your life isn't wrong. You're loved. Just going to stop there. Thank you. There's been so many people just struggling with their worth and their value. And I bring all of that home with me and I sit with it at home. So it's just my prayer. If that is you, leave it here. leave it with God and walk out the doors free. I just want you to know how he sees you, because that's how I see you. You don't have to change a single hair on your head for me to love you as you are. Now I'm all done for right now. Yes.
This reminds me of 2 Corinthians 4:16, where it says our bodies are dying each day, but our spirits are being renewed every day.
Yes.
For certain and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Corinthians is amazing. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That whole book, it's just telling us, I mean, this is a love story. It's value, your value. So we'll finish with one last song.